You, my wonderful people in the house, Biafran family, home and abroad, anywhere where they. At the West salute they give you. I just carry waka down. They come back from church, Happy Sunday to you all, anywhere where they. Whether you day for church, you day for your house, you day your workshop, you day do night shift or day shift. I just they carry through way. I don't carry salute the through way they give you. So make you do what? May God Almighty continue to guide and protect you and sustain you in all endeavors. No matter what the Nigerian government are doing, or no matter the shenanigans being happening at the Biafran region, and we can never chop grass. And that's all the thing take be. Okay, I don't carry waka come back now. Before I proceed, and I still remember this our brother, where his name be Ifeanyi, where they always carry my Nnamdi Kanu case for head. As a matter of fact, now he can organize whether I go call him crusade or crowd. He can tell Ekpa, say Abego, say making leave Anambra State alone for them. Say making go to his own state, where they state, they do sit at home. And on another say, in the two they visit Nnamdi Kanu from time to time to know how the young man they feel. Well, if you must know, Nnamdi Kanu is with Andy Uba, not Andy Uba, sorry, Ifeanyi Uba. Before I make a mistake, it is Ifeanyi Uba that went to visit Nnamdi Kanu together with some prominent men in the Igbo land. At least Ifeanyi Ejiofor as well accompanied them for that routine visit to see Nnamdi Kanu at the DSS dungeon. And in that very place, if you people could remember, in one of my previous videos, I made mention of what Nnamdi Kanu told Dan Olashi. He's also an elder statesman in the southeast and also a PDP chieftain. That he have long cancelled the so-called sit at home and all the shenanigans being happening on it. Even as I'm talking to you right now, Nnamdi Kanu also confided to the likes of Ifeanyi Uba and the rest of the other dignitaries, Igwes, chiefs that accompany him to go and see Nnamdi Kanu. I am very, very disappointed that when I see the comment that follows this post, I was discouraged, very, very disappointed that our people, the only thing they know how to do is just to comment nonsense. Nobody knows what you are passing through in that very regard. Going to DSS alone to see Nnamdi Kanu is enough duty. You don't hold Nnamdi Kanu any explanation if you don't go there. You don't hold Biafrans any explanation if you don't go there. Then tell me the reason why somebody will go to where this thing is being posted and said, Ifeanyi Uba went there to confirm for Nnamdi Kanu whether sit at home still exists. And he said God is watching. And God is watching what? Ifeanyi Uba is the only person in the whole of the southeast senators that we have that raised the motion at the senator plenary. I mean, they are sitting in Abuja, that they should do what? Compel the presidency to release Nnamdi Kanu. When he raised the motion, not even a single Igbo man, not even a single senator or House of Reps that have been present that very day supported that motion. Rather, the only motion they supported was the one of Osita is in Aso from Imo State raised for the repatriation of Ekpa. That is when the whole house arose, including all the whole Southeast senators that never supported Ifeanyi Uba for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. And somebody will go to the comment section where this post is being made and making some silly statements simply because they know how to type A and B. And when you talk, I say, anyway, sir, well, the main point there is that our men have gone to visit Nnamdi Kanu, and also they have made it clear to the Nigerian government that Nnamdi Kanu have not committed any offense. In every area, in every region, there must be somebody like Nnamdi Kanu that will stand for that very area. Of course, you cannot tell me that Nnamdi Kanu have done close to what Asari Dokubo have done today, but Asari Dokubo is walking freely on the street. So in the southeast, we have Nnamdi Kanu. In the south, we have Asari Dokubo. In the southwest, Sunday Igboho is there. Then in the north, as a whole, they have Sheikh Gumi, that Islamic cleric, who knows or who come out to tell us that, or rather, tell his own people that they should stop killing the bandits and the Boko Harams, that they are their foot soldiers inside the forest. But all those people, all of them are still walking freely today. No one I repeat, no one have ever go to arrest them to question with me. How then you know all the whole hideouts of the criminals? Even when they talk about they want to negotiate with the criminals, he is the first that come out and said yes, it is a welcome development. That in fact they should make him the leader of that very particular movement to go and negotiate with the bandits. Till today, the federal government or the police or the military or the DSS that always put a bounty of 5 million naira on the heads of all the leaders of gangs or bandits. Nobody went to call this man to order. I beg, we don't put 5 million naira bounty on top of these people's head. Come and show us where they're there so that we can track them down. Nobody does that. But the whole Nnamdi Kanu and somebody like Ifeanyi who never ceased to stand for this young man since the day he was arrested. Some people are still criticizing him. There's nothing you do in this life that nobody can criticize you. I use myself as an example. Even the good news that I'm bringing to people, making it clear to everyone that I am a media. Do not come and judge me as an activist. I'm not an activist. But still upon that, they will still come to my comment section to bash me. Well, that is life for you. Anyway, my wonderful people, do not forget to subscribe to my channel, like, share, and also comment in this news that I'm bringing to us this very, very day. So, let us start in our seatbelt. We are about to proceed. And this is an update on the routine visit to our indefatigable client, Nnamdi Kanu, at the headquarters of the State Service or State Security Service, SSS Abuja, where he's still being detained or being held illegally and unconstitutional in the solitary confinement of the DSS. Okay, in that news, Nnamdi Kanu was today visited by the Jew of His Majesty, Eze Chukwuemeka Eri, Eze Akajiofo, Igbo Nile, or Igbo Nile, or Igbo Nile, Ezora XXSIV of Aguleri, and the distinguished Senator Ifeanyi at the facility of the State Security Service. Distinguished Senator Ifeanyi at the faculty of the State Security Service, headquarters Abuja, where Onyendu is still currently being held in solitary confinement. That is part of the news. We are going straight to the news now. Please listen and listen attentively. I would like you to do me one favor. Share this message. Let people know that no matter how bad it is, Ifeanyi must surely go to visit Nnamdi Kanu and also do what? Give his own side of the story. So let us hear what happened at that very visitation. The visit was unprecedented, as fruitful, as productive discussions were exclusively held with Onyendu Nnamdi Kanu during the visit. Onyendu retreated his firm and unequivocal condemnation and the total cancellation of the senseless sit-at-home in the southeast, hitherto enforced in the entire southeast state by the enemies of our people. Make una see the listen to this so-called Ekpa. We still hear this one now. We tell you, no, it is fake. Let us continue. Other crucial messages conveyed to them by Onyendu will be made public, as given by Onyendu in due course. Be assured, Umu Chineke, that we are speedily approaching the end of the tunnel. Chukwuoke Abiama is always on the throne, and this trying period will soon become a history. Mekona Hiaramo, thank you all, Eziwu Umu Chineke, and remain blessed. We move, and this message is being signed by Sir Ifeanyi Ejiofor Esquire, KSC, IPOP's lead counsel. You get the point now, Abi? Also, Nazo Take B. We have other news here. This one not the only news we have. Pepel versus Dokubo, Labour Party crisis, Rivers in Rivers get messier. What happens? How then Asari Dokubo is involved in this very particular matter? Whether at the same Asari Dokubo I know, or is it another Asari Dokubo? Anyway, that is a story for another day. Let us go straight to the reason. The factional chairman of the Labour Party in Rivers State, Dianye Pepel, has dismissed a report that the Rivers State High Court on Monday declared the faction of the party, led by Haida Dokubo, as the authentic leadership of the party. Julius Abure faction of the Labour Party had in March of 2023 appointed Dokubo as the chairman steering committee of the party in the state after the national leadership of the party dissolved the Rivers State Executive Council following their adoption of Governor Similaye Fubara, the then governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party. Pepel and members of his faction dragged the party, Dokubo and 4 others, to court, praying the court to determine if Abure has the sole right to dissolve the state executive and that the party has no steering committee on its constitutions. Briefing news made in Port Harcourt, Pepe stated that the court presided over by Justice C. Adango ruled that it lacked jurisdiction to handle matters of internal party crisis, adding that the matter was academic as several developments have overtaken the prayers of the defendants. We read some publications and some fake news flying about a particular court judgment, and so we want to put the record straight. According to the factional leader, can I call him a factional leader of Labour Party in Rivers State, which is a Paracourt. Anyway, let us continue with our news because no time to tell time. We move. In April, we approached the court when the former national chairman of Labour Party in the person of Julius Abure dissolved the Labour Party State Executive ESCO in Rivers State. And we approached the court on two major prayers. One, that the court should interpret whether Abure has the sole right to dissolve a state ESCO. Two, whether there is anything like a steering committee in the Labour Party constitution, because he appointed a steering committee for 1 month. But along the line, other events came along and overtook our prayers because Abure was removed and restrained by a federal high court in Abuja on April 5. And then one of the deputy national chairman was appointed by the new working committee as the acting chairman, which is a lie. Now the new acting chairman gave me a letter and my excuse to serve as caretaker chairman for another 3 months. And these activities overtook our prayers. The court said the matter was academic because what we prayed for is no longer there again. The court said they don't have jurisdiction because it is a state high court. They said they don't have power to hear the matter, so I wonder where they are bringing the issue that the court said they should remain. That was not what we went to court for. We went to court on the issue that Abure does not have the sole right to dissolve a state ESCO, and there is nothing like steering committee on our constitution. Pepe also added that on July 21, factional national acting chairman of Labour Party, Nnamdi Papa, gave him a letter to continue piloting the affairs of the party for another 3 months. The steering committee that was given to Haida Dokubo was for 1 month. It has elapsed and that has passed. Abure gave another letter of caretaker committee to a group of people who he smartly backdated to April 3 because he was restrained on April 5. And because of the restraining order, he cannot sign a letter. Abure cannot sign a letter for Labour Party, so he quickly backdated that letter to April 3, and that same letter expired on June 3. As I am speaking to you, on July 21, I was given another letter again by Nnamdi Papa, the current acting national chairman of the party, to continue for another 3 months before our convention. On his part, the legal counsel to the Labour Party, led by Dokubo, Chris Okpara Olu, confirmed that the court struck out the originating summons by Pepe. Okpara Olu insisted that the interpretation of the court judgment is that the steering committee led by Dokubo remains the authentic steering committee of Labour Party in Rivers State, as Abure had earlier dissolved the state executive led by Pepe. We asked the court to strike out the applications because it does not have jurisdiction to entertain internal party affairs. And the court agreed with the respondents on that basis. The meaning of that judgment is that the steering committee, so appointed by the National Secretary of the Labour Party, headed by Haida Dokubo, is the authentic steering committee for Labour Party in Rivers State. And that of Ifeanyi Pepe had been validly dissolved and is no longer in existence, he added. Christ is everywhere. Military will defend Nigeria's democracy at all costs, Chief of Army Staff, not when the country is being languishing in poverty. I know this one is just to how do they say it? This one is just to encourage the so-called invader who is trying to invade another country, whereby he have already invaded his own country. I don't want to call names, but people know who I'm referring to. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Labaja, on Saturday vowed that the Nigerian military will continue to defend the nation's democracy no matter the challenges it faces. General Labaja gave the assurance while speaking at the passing out parade of officers of Executive Commission course, one at the Army School of Infantry located in Jaji, Kaduna State. He said the desire of every Nigerian is a flourishing and uninterrupted constitutional democratic governance, which would promote the interests of all well-meaning citizens. The Chief of Army Staff also warned the officers against indulging in any form of insubordination, certain that they should remain politically or political in discharging their constitutional duties. I therefore charge all Nigerian Army personnel to be proud champions of our flourishing democracy and remain political in discharging their constitutional duties. Daily Post reports that Labaja made the assertions amid the current tension in the country over the military junta in Niger Republic. Niger soldiers have seized power from their democratically elected president Mohamed Bazoum last week over alleged poor governance and poor outcome of the 12 years ruling of the so-called Mohamed Bazoum. How Tinubu dashed Nigerian youth hope, according to Alhaji Shehu Sani, a former Kaduna Central lawmaker or senator, sorry to say. Shehu Sani has said the new administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu has dashed the hope of Nigerian youth while setting up his cabinet. Cabinet of old fools. Cabinet of never do well people. Never do well politicians. That is people that fool the cabinet of the so-called president of the Fulani government of Nigeria. And I ask, these people have not made any single attempt in their different respective states. That is the one that we're going to handle the affairs of the federal government. That means that be that too. Sani said this in a tweet on his verified Twitter handle. This one happened yesterday, being Saturday. According to him, many Nigerian youths had expected that they would dominate the cabinet of the new president. He never do well. This one is just his allies. His allies, what he want to reward everybody. Anyhow you play your politics, as long as you are among the people that rig this election, my dear, you must surely get your what? Your reward. And the government of the Abado Republic of Fulanis. This hope, Sani explained, had been dashed by the Abado administration due to his decision to appease the older ones. Sani is reacting to the ministerial list sent to the Senate by Tinubu, which comprised names of many known old politicians and old fools in office. A lot of Nigerians have criticized the list for containing names of former political office holders instead of fresh young heads. Reacting, Sani maintained that the hope of the youth was dashed because Tinubu wanted to satisfy those he tagged entitled old brigades. The hope of the youth to dominate the cabinet had been dashed by the experience or exigencies of appeasing the entitled old brigades. Shehu Sani tweeted. The ministerial list blame Southeast leaders, not President Tinubu. This Osita Okechukwu, every time you keep on blowing grammar. You should blame the Southeast. Maybe the Southeast governors have to force Tinubu what he need to do. They need to force him out for him to know that in the Southeast it's supposed to have more than 5 nominees or 5 slots in that 48 name. Ogun State have almost 15. Kebbi State have almost 5. Kebbi State. We're talking about states. Kebbi State. But in the whole of the Southeast, 5 states have only 5 slots. And you say we should not blame him. We should blame the APs. Anyway, let me not talk now. They say that I don't have respect for old men or gray hair. A chief of the All Poverty Congress APC in Enugu State, Mr. Osita Okechukwu, has absolved President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of any blame in the nomination of only 5 people from the Southeast as members of his cabinet. Criticism has treated Tinubu's ministerial list with some Southeast leaders accusing him of marginalizing the zone. While the Southeast was given its statutory 5 slots out of the 48 nominees, other zones got extra slots. Not zones, other states. Ogun State, do you know how many slots they give you? Only Ogun State. But answering questions from the journalists in Enugu on Sunday on the perceived shabby treatment meted out to the Southeast, Mr. Okechukwu, a foundation member of APC, quipped that without holding brief or defending Mr. President, instead of blaming him, we should rather blame our so-called Southeast APC governors. Okechukwu, the Director General of Voice of Nigeria, said, "As you are aware, I am not a President Tinubu's apologist. However, we must be diligent in our analysis by adopting the pragmatic analysis according to him. My take is that we should more cogently blame our APC leaders who, instead of genuine advancement of Southeast interests, were more or less petty in their lobby strategy of only themselves. After all, one chairs the APC Governors Forum, that is Hope Uzodinjo. Have you ever lobbied for at least for the slot of the Southeasterners to be more than 5? They cannot. How can he lobby it? How can? The foremost power bloc and the other was already in the Senate." He added, "To be honest, I was worried when I noticed them blocking our first 11 and one ridiculously was busy rooting for himself as if he is the only qualified person from his state. Their strategy was a kind of chasing rats, while others are bidding for elephants." That is the likes of Oji Uzokalo, who said that Emiloko, it is my turn to become the Senate president. They didn't give you. I expected him to run out from the Senate itself and said, "Oh, I will not hold this office again since you people denied me my right." Ndara. Accused of playing blame games to gain favor, as Tinubu, a veteran politician, does not need any lobby strategy to give the Southeast their due shares. Okechukwu reminded journalists that it is on record and he was the only one who in December of 2021 publicly appealed to Tinubu to support any Igbo in the race, and his men replied instantly that the kingmaker wants to be the king. Okechukwu asked, "Is it not because from day one the so-called leaders mangled and dislocated Southeast APC structures from ward level to state level that we scored the poorest regional presidential election score," according to Okechukwu. Secondly, it is not because they bidded petty and blocked our first 11 that we lost the moral high ground for bigger cakes. If there are blame games, they should be led squarely where they belong most, according to Osita Okechukwu. Niger Republic, Reno Mokri identifies mistake in Tinubu's request to Senate. Okay, you are the mistake identifier. A social critic, Reno Omokri, is of the view that President Bola Tinubu shouldn't have made public his request to the Senate for approval of military action against Niger. Omokri observed that Tinubu's request should have been a secret memo and deliberately unsecretly by the Senate. His observation was contained in a post via his social media platform on Saturday. The social critic suggested that it was better to strangulate the Nigerian putscherists economically until they restored the democratically elected president. He wrote, "A request by President Tinubu to the Senate for military intervention in Niger Republic should not be made public, not by the executive or the legislature. Making it public was a mistake, except it was done deliberately to intimidate the junta in Niger Republic. If not, it should have been a secret memo which the Senate should have deliberated on secretly as well. We do not pray for war, and we should do everything to avert it. It is better to strangulate the Nigerian putschists economically until they restore the democratically elected president. The general who seized the power should also be offered amnesty if he returns what he stole to the rightful owner. And if he wishes, he should be free to contest as president in the next election in that very particular country. But war should be at least a last resort. And if we must resort to war, we shouldn't have a UN mandate, and the international community should pay for the war. Well, I know the finish, you finish work there. Now, so now, they should prepare for it. Oga Tulumbu, if you are preparing for war, make it see more that fear. You don't grip northerners. We get some common border with Niger, as the military action against Niger juntas is approaching. Okay, we're gonna do what? We're gonna continue the approach. Palpable fear has gripped Nigerians, especially northern residents, following the decision of President Bola Tinubu to take military action against the junta in Niger Republic. Daily Post report that following the toppling of Niger's democratically elected president, Muhammad Bazoum, by his military guard last week, leaders of the West African regional bloc are devising means to restore democracy to that country. Recall that about 10 senior military officers led by Colonel Major Amadou Abrahamen had, via a national broadcast on July 27, announced a coup in Niger over alleged poor governance and inability of the government to tackle security and other challenges befalling their country. In a swift move to quell another military rule in the region, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, led by its newly elected chairman, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, gave the junta 7 days ultimatum to restore normalcy or face some stringent sanctions. The ultimatum was issued last week during an emergency meeting in Abuja, Nigeria. According to communique released after the meeting, the West African leaders agreed on 7 political sanctions that would compel the military to bow. According to them, West African states will ensure closure and monitoring of all land borders with the Niger Republic and the reactivation of the border drilling exercise. Cutting off electricity supply to the Niger Republic by Nigeria also, not by Niger. Mobilizing international support for the implementation of the provisions of the ECOWAS communique. Preventing the operations of commercial and the special flights into and from Niger Republic. Blockade of goods in transit to Niger, especially from Lagos and eastern seaports. Embarking on sensitization of Nigerians and Nigerians on the imperative of these actions, particularly via social media. Military build-up and development of personnel for military intervention to enforce compliance of the military junta in Niger should they remain resilient. In a bid to execute the resolutions, Tinubu on August 3 dispatched a delegation to Niger with a mandate to expeditiously resolve the politically impasse in the country. The delegation, headed by former Nigerian head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, retired, left for Niamey on Thursday after a briefing by Tinubu at the State House in Abuja. The former Nigerian head of state was joined in the delegation by the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Mohammed Saad Abubakar III, and the President of the ECOWAS Commission, His Excellency Omar Aliu Toure. However, Daily Post gathered that efforts of the delegation were yielding no positive outcome as the Nigerian military vowed to antagonize the resolutions of the leadership of ECOWAS. The source, familiar with the development, who does not want his name mentioned, told Daily Post in Abuja on Saturday that it was due to the refusal of the Nigerian soldiers to resolve the matter that made Tinubu to ask the Senate for approval of military actions against the junta. Military actions was the last option ECOWAS proposed, but from the look of things, the soldiers in Niger are not yet ready for talks. So there is a need for the president to prepare ahead. The Nigerian soldiers cannot go on such a mission without the approval of the National Assembly. From the reports and videos we have been seeing, Then the Niger soldiers have established ties with Russia and the other powerful nations waiting for war. Who knows their plan? We all saw the protest that was held in Niamey on Friday, where they were raining all sorts of insults on our president. We need to prepare ahead. Daily Post reported that President Tinubu on Friday sought the approval of the Senate for a military action to tackle the political unrest in Niger. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, read the letter on the floor of the upper chamber on Friday. The move for military actions has, however, instilled palpable fear in Nigerians, particularly northerners, who share borders with Niger. Recall that Burkina Faso and Mali had on Friday joined forces with the Niger, warning that any military intervention in their coup-hit neighbor would be tantamount to war in the West African region. Daily Post report that Niamey, the capital city of Niger, is 371 miles and 10 hours 45 minutes drive away from Castina. There are fears that the looming military intervention may force the Niger junta to unleash attacks on some of the northern states. An Islamic preacher in Kanu, Dr. Muhammad Sani Umar Rijia Lemo, in a viral video on Friday, warned Tinubu against leading Nigeria to invade Niger. Rijia Lemo stated that any military incursion would further add to the myriad of socio-economic challenges in the Sahel region, advising ECOWAS to find a peaceful means of resolving the issues. Everyone knows that war, especially at this moment, comes with several consequences. We don't know how and when it ends, he added. Similarly, the Northern Senators Forum on Friday cautioned ECOWAS against the use of military force in restoring democracy in Niger Republic. The senators, under the leadership of Senator Abdul Ahmed Ningi Bauchi, called for political and diplomatic means to restore democratic government in that very particular country. The forum, in a statement by its spokesperson, Suleiman A. Kawu Somaila, cautioned that military force would cause the death of many innocent citizens in Niger Republic and 7 Nigerian states that share a border with the Niger Republic as well. We take exception to the use of military force until other avenues, as mentioned, are exhausted, as the consequences will be casualties among innocent citizens who go about their daily businesses, the statement added. Also, the national president of the Arewa Youth Consultative Forum, Alhaji Yerima Shetima, told the Daily Post on Saturday that any attempt to embark on military intervention in Niger will have a direct effect on northerners. He urged President Tinubu and the Senate to ensure that all diplomatic means have been exhausted before embarking on military action against the Niger junta. He said, in the first place, we have not even exhausted all the necessary tools before arriving at the conclusion that we need to go for war. The decision is coming in a haste. I don't think Nigeria is prepared to go to war now. Don't forget that we have serious internal issues that are already threatening our existence. Don't forget that if war should break out from Niger, the North will be directly affected. I don't understand why we are talking or why we are taking Panadol for someone's headache. Citizens of Niger are jubilating over the coup, and we are here carrying another man's cross on our head. They don't want to mind their business simply because they have intention to because of the tribunal. That is why Tinubu is running this seketa. Nobody should tell me that he's just doing it for the interest of the people of Niger. He's not doing it for them. You are cutting their light, which they are paying you. ECOWAS is not the one that gave them light. Nigeria gave them light, and you cut it off. Now you are looking for approval to hit them, simply because you make one approach to negotiate, and it failed. So you cannot make another approach, whereby you have hit them with so many sanctions, and you want to go to war. As if you will stand in Nigeria when they started that war now. You will flee Nigeria and be given an order from abroad. Nonsense set of people. This means there's no more to what we are seeing and hearing. It is my view that the president should be very careful, and the Senate should also be careful not to give any approval immediately. We don't have that money to spend, and we don't have such manpower to waste now. It is too early to be talking about invading the country. Don't forget that Russia has an interest in this case. I'm not in support of war for now. Let us be mindful of our own internal challenges so that we don't invite trouble to ourselves. However, hours after Tinubu's letter to the Senate, the Security Committee of the ECOWAS, comprising military chiefs of some West African countries, said they would give diplomacy a chance in Niger over the current activities of the junta in the country. The chiefs assured that there will be an intensified diplomatic effort to engage with all relevant stakeholders and ensure that dialogue and negotiations is at the forefront of the approach to resolve the crisis in Niger Republic. So my wonderful people, my viewers and subscribers, now here we go take back our kayo and I go with the go-to. We're gonna do what? We're gonna use what? They step down, they enjoy on a Sunday. Share this message. Let it go viral. You get the point now? Make this message, let it go viral. Share it. That is the only thing you can do. Your only encouragement or the only thing you can do for me is to make sure that you share this message, like, comment, and do what? And subscribe to my channel for more interesting videos. Have a nice day. And may the God Almighty bless us all, the Father and the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Until I come your way again, I still remain Okute Daily Talk. Bye bye for now. Kemesiano.